Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 3,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 100 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Finally! Are you ready?
But that's not me, I'm the Switchblade baby.
You, and especially you. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Goodbye. Write it down, you like writing things down.
I am your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. I am
Omega, the Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast.
What's going on, guys? That is right, Omega Luke here, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast, with another treat for you today. You might have seen already on the old tweet machine that, yes, I interviewed the one and only Chuck Mambo this week from Progress Wrestling. If you haven't heard who Chuck is, he had a breakout year in 2018, capturing the Riptide Championship. Massive props to him in Progress as well, from a strong performance in the Super Strong Style 16 and the World Cup win, which we will all cover today. I had his buddy TK on last week, and Chuck was already coming on, but was very excited after TK told him he had a great time on the Omega Luke podcast the week before, which I'm still pinching myself about, that these guys actually had a conversation about me. But alas, this interview is awesome, and I am very excited to bring this to you. Quick update as well. Saturday, I went to the first Fight Forever tour in Bristol, which was amazing, by the way. I got to meet Cody Rhodes, Bruce and Conrad, Flip Gordon, Flash Morgan Webster, Travis Banks, Millie McKenzie, and of course, the Hall of Famer, the Godfather, and Papa Shango, as well as watch an incredible wrestling show. And again, you may have seen online that myself, Math, Mason, and Nev vlogged the whole day. We answered some of your questions. We had so much fun doing so, and once I know how to use Adobe Premiere Pro, I shall have that video rocking and rolling on the YouTube. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you're subscribed on YouTube to watch that as soon as it comes out. I also want to give a massive shout out to my first ever Patreon member, which caught me completely by surprise, JPQ, and that is at the Big Spawn, the Big Poor Son A Pup on Twitter, who is now a Patreon member, which has inspired me to update the Patreon and plug it a lot more. And the love I've been getting off you recently has been amazing, everyone on the wrestling community. And JPQ is a guy who I know recently checked out the podcast through listening to people like Wilfred, and has stuck around and enjoys what he is hearing. He is also an absolute boss at Twitter, so he is definitely worth a follow. And again, his Twitter handle is at Big Poor Son A Pup. Exactly how it sounds. So go follow him, all one word, tell him how much of a legend he is, and thank you once again, John, for supporting me. You do not know what it means, and in the new year, I really want to get you on, actually, for an episode, because you have a lot to offer the wrestling community, and your episode with Wilfred recently was awesome, so I want a bit of that pie. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to put a note to get you on, but make sure you pester me to remind me, brother, because thank you very much for your support of the Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. Okay, guys, enough of me rambling. It's Chuck Mambo time.
Hi, I'm Bruce Pritchard. This is Conrad Thompson.
And you're listening to the Omega Luke Podcast.
Here I am, guys. I am very excited to bring to you today my guest on Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. It is the one and only Chuck Mambo. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Nah, massive thank you very much for coming on. I'm very excited to chat to you today, and for me and the audience to find out a little bit more about you and the surfing and wrestling sensation that is Chuck Mambo.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Cool. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Amazing. So let's start on your early career then. You are from Newquay in Cornwall, which is just a 45-minute journey from where I was born and raised in Plymouth. Now, I know how scarce wrestling is in general down here growing up, and definitely to train to be a wrestler. I was very unaware of anywhere around when I was growing up. Can you tell me where it was that you trained and what it was like pursuing a wrestling career being from the very southwest of England?
Yes, I can. The truth be told, I think I'm at a point in my career I can just tell you the truth now. I am not actually from Newquay. I am from a town called Wootton-under-Edge.
It is all kayfabe.
In Gloucestershire. Oh, there goes the K5. But I did learn to surf in Newquay, so I mean that much is true.
Yeah.
No, I grew up in Gloucestershire, and when I was I didn't swear. When I was young, my dad moved to Gloucester, the city, where luckily enough, like the year that he moved was the year that a company called Pro Evo started a wrestling school there.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was like, I don't know, like maybe like 14 to 16 or something like that, I could train there on Sundays. But then I was only at my dad's every other Sunday, and I wasn't like a particularly focused 14-year-old. I really take my hat off to like people like Tyler or Pete that, you know, like even when they were 14 and the scene was like pre-pits, they didn't think like, oh, the scene is bad and get distracted. They like they saw the scene was bad, and like like all of the Attack guys and the Fight Club guys, like they saw that the scene was bad, and instead of just being like, oh, it's not very good, they carried on and like made it what it is now. So I really admire that. But I was a pretty scatterbrained teenager, and I couldn't make it that much. I kind of ran out of money to train, and so I didn't actually. I mean, Pro Evo is a great school. I really think they're like still running some pretty great shows.
Yeah.
But I fell out of it really, and then when I was at uni in London, I did amateur for a year at Lewisham Wrestling Club, which was really fun. But I think Britain doesn't have much of an amateur wrestling scene.
Yeah,
like you have to be training that like 5 days a week minimum, probably 7 really, and they were only training once a week, and so like I did one contest and fractured my rib.
Oh, no way.
I fractured my rib. Get this, I didn't even know the rules. So I think like an amateur wrestling contest, you don't have like a 3 count.
There's
and
like
I
one
didn't
count,
know that. So I was doing this like big dramatic kick out on 2, like it was wrestling.
And you'd already lost.
But so I'm like quite heavy because I'm tall, but back then I was even skinnier than I am now.
Yeah.
So this guy was like 2 foot shorter than me, just packed full of muscle, and he's like wrapped around my waist, you know.
Yeah.
And so I like you're supposed to like bridge up and turn into them to break the pin. Yeah. But I like bridged up and I turned, but all his weight kept my body in place. And I just like felt my rib go. I was like, oh no.
Disaster.
Why? So that was my first and last amateur match. I guess I'm not exactly legitimizing the toughness of our generation with that story. I did actually kickbox competitively for quite a few years before that as a teenager. So that was cool. But anyway, by the time I was 19, I really did not like. I love indie wrestling now, and I always loved wrestling, but I didn't really know much about like the internet until I was already at uni.
Yeah.
And but I saw a Defend Indie Wrestling sticker on I think in a toilet in a club in Shoreditch, and I was like, oh, cool. So I googled that, and that led to like a Facebook thing that was like about Defend Indie and Screw Indie or something, and then that led to Progress, and then it turned out Progress Wrestling had their school just like half an hour down the road in Camberwell from where I was at uni in New Cross in London. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think the first time that I went to try and find the wrestling school, I just couldn't find it. I got lost and like I turned up like an hour and a half into a 3-hour session or something because I couldn't find it. And I only found it because it was in some business estate. And there's a load of what do you call it? There's like evangelical.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be disrespectful to any evangelical Christians, but it was like some of those really intense churches around in this business park. But then I just heard like, oh. And I was like, oh, that sounds like wrestling. And I like pulled up this shutter, and Jimmy Havoc was there having people wrestle on the floor. You know, I was like, oh, cool. I think I found it. And so that was really cool. And then because it was such a even in the early days, it was such a well-ran organization. Like you could train 5 days a week, and it was my first year of uni, so I had a pretty free schedule as it goes. And I decided all I wanted to do was be a wrestler anyway.
You just went. So,
yeah, so that was awesome. And then obviously now I'm really good friends with Eddie, and his girlfriend, I think, had listened to that story somehow about the stickers.
Yeah. And
she was like, do you know Mambo? And he started training because he found this Defend Indie sticker. And he was like, yeah, I know, it's a great story, isn't it? And she was like, when we first met, you insisted on putting Defend Indie wrestling stickers everywhere I went with you. So,
that's Eddie Dennis, am I right?
Yeah. So it's cool to think now we're such good friends, and that's largely because he was just so insistent on putting stickers all over the place.
So he is the reason you are into pro wrestling.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. Maybe that story doesn't make me sound all that good. Not a focused enough teenager to become a good wrestler when I was a teenager. But hey, I mean, life is what it is. You know.
You're here now. But growing up, who was your inspiration in the ring, and who you enjoyed watching?
Growing up, I gotta say, I know he sounds like an awful person, but Hulk Hogan as a wrestler was just, I loved him.
Yeah. Character-wise, he was everything, wasn't he?
Oh my God. Yeah. And then obviously everyone loved The Rock. And but Mick Foley was my guy.
Yeah.
Even though looking back at it, I hadn't even watched that much of his stuff. But when we would play with the wrestling figures and stuff, he was always the invincible one because he'd been thrown off the cell and stuff. So I'd always be they've done everything to him, but they still can't kill him. You know? Yeah. And then Shawn Michaels, Scotty 2 Hotty, I loved.
Yeah.
Santino Marella and Goldust, and there's kind of I really, really. It's funny because I think acting is kind of I think loads of acting is kind of well, not lame, but not really my cup of tea. But the vignettes and acting in wrestling shows, I think is great.
Yeah, I agree. I love
I loved all those silly skits and stuff. Oh, Mr. Perfect was another one.
Yeah.
$1 Million Man, I loved. Randy Orton, after I was through absolutely hating him. Do you know when he did that whole Legend Killer thing?
I love the Legend Killer gimmick.
I was I don't know, not that old, I don't think, but I guess I always knew that it was a scripted show and stuff, but I just hated him so bad. I was oh no, he's gone too far. No.
When you look back on it though, what an amazing gimmick to have, the Legend Killer.
Oh, fantastic, yeah. So I just always really hated the way all these, well, it did exactly the job. I always hated the way these dudes didn't they were coming back and I wanted them to be out on top, you know. I was oh, come on, he's a legend. He should just be able to come here and, I don't know, whatever legend it was, you know. But do his little shtick. But then Randy Orton kicks him in the head or whatever. You.
So I'm curious then, as someone who's just started a YouTube channel myself, you and TK Cooper on YouTube, you have your own YouTube, Escaping the Midcard with TK. Tell us all about it.
Yeah. So it's been really fun actually. We started at Super Strong Style because we were pretty much all year. It's been one of the best bits of the year actually. Starting that with TK and Spike. We would just go into all the same shows and stuff, and we were really big fans of I don't know if you watch Being the Elite.
Yes, but, I do every week.
Episode 90 through to 100 when they were doing the build up for Cody and no, not for All In. When they were doing the build up to Cody versus Kenny.
Oh yeah.
For the leadership of the Bullet Club or whatever.
Yeah.
It was just such a cool way of driving the story, intersplicing it with really fun. Just I don't really like vlogs or anything like that. I think they're kind of lame. But a good mixture of silly bits and actually really compelling storytelling that got quite emotional, you know. And we were it'd be so sick if we had a way to progress our storylines like that. And actually, as it's turned out, because we were in the process of running a show called 4TB that we thought would have maybe had a few more shows than one, but it turned out not to. But we thought it would be really cool to have ways to progress our storylines, and we're still kind of trying to figure out that because there's so many for Being the Elite or something. Their main sort of commitment is to New Japan and Ring of Honor, so they have like one linear storyline to follow for the most part. But I have like completely contradicting storylines between Sunday, where I just beat the crap out of Eddie, and Wednesday, where we're in a team together, you know. Yeah. So we're still kind of trying to figure out the way that you can intersplice the stories and stuff. But it's been really fun to like mess around with, because like over Super Strong Style weekend, we were like, like no matter what happens, it'll always be sweet to just like have this to look back at, because it was like such a fun weekend and stuff. And then like it's been cool to like just hear different people's responses to it, really. Like sometimes you'll be at a show and people will just be like, oh my god, like Wednesdays at work, I like my lunch break is so sick because I just stop and watch be in the mid-card, escaping the mid-card and stuff. So that was like really nice there, because one of the things I always loved about wrestling, I guess it's like the thing I love the most, is just like it's literally a way to make people happy. So like if you can do that on YouTube as well for like 10 stupid minutes, you know, then that's really cool. It's made us like way more, well, I don't know about TK, because TK's always been pretty like suave and cool, but it's been interesting, because I feel like so much more comfortable in front of a camera now. Like I was at Chris Hero's seminar. Yeah, in ring too, but like just talking, I think, because I was at a Chris Hero seminar like a year or two ago. I was like, I feel like I have the dumbest voice, and like people think that I put this voice on, I think, but it's just my voice now. and I don't know, I feel like so strange when I talk. And he was like, maybe just get used to talking, and that could like even be your thing one day, you know, or whatever. And I was like, well, yeah, maybe. So I spent some time, like I just like record myself for 30 seconds, just saying jargon like every day for like 2 weeks or a month or something, just to like get used to doing it. And that made me more comfy. But it's way different to like, you're not thinking about it at all when it's with TK, because it's just like, we're just having fun, and then like it is on a camera. But that's...
Subscribe to Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast. Nailed it.
So Chuck, I was checking out your cage match statistics earlier on, and you've been in 2 single tournaments this year, and you've won them both. So 2 big ones as well. The Riptide Championship, of course, in Brighton.
Oh yeah, man, yeah.
And the Progress World Cup 2018. So that must be great feeling for you that both companies are pushing you like this.
Yeah. Well, so actually, I mean, when you think about it, I've been in 3, because I was in the Super Strong Style 16 as well.
Well, I suppose, that's another one.
I give a big credit for me being in Super Strong Style 16 to Riptide. Like right from the early days, they put like loads of faith in me, and they were putting me in like these big matches. And Chris Brooks took it upon himself to make sure that he brought, I forget what it was in his words. He was like saying it on the car on the way down. He was like, I'm going to get fire out of Mambo. I'm going to get him pissed off. Or something like that. And apparently everyone in the car was like, nah, you can't do it. But like right at the start of the match, he just like slapped me in the face, and I was like, oh, this is where we are. So to Chris Brooks, obviously massive thank you, but to Riptide for kind of putting me in with like a caliber of opponent that like Progress were definitely starting to put me in with like really good wrestlers as well. I think that same month I got to wrestle like Eddie at the Dome or something. But because Riptide gave me like a really big platform, I think Progress did see that, and then like see the potential in me to be in Super Strong Style that year as well.
Oh, definitely.
So that was really awesome. And then Super Strong Style obviously like was a really like really big deal for my career and everything. Like I got a lot busier off the back of that match with Zach, which was a blast.
Oh yeah, but that was an incredible match.
Yeah. But then from there, like Riptide, obviously I've been like going up and up and up, and I'm like their first champion, and that's been sweet, and I got to wrestle like awesome stuff. But from Super Strong Style, like I had a blast that weekend, and then I found out whilst I was there, because I saw it on the board, that I was in the World Cup, and then I won the World Cup, and then I got a match with Trav. But since then, I haven't been on a Progress show until I took it upon myself this month or last month, or whatever.
Yeah,
like at the ballroom
very soon.
Yeah, but so I mean, like, it's awesome that like Progress would give me that platform in the beginning, but then like I still had to take it upon myself to get onto the show. in recent months. So
definitely. So let's talk a little more about your Progress career so far. Then you've wrestled for them many times over the 5 years that you've been wrestling now, and you know the crowds by now, and in the normal arena. I know it was only the pre-show, but what was it like walking out at Wembley Arena for the Battle Royale and to actually win it in front of that huge Wembley audience?
Oh man, dude, the Wembley show was such a blast because like we were the pre-show and we were a Rumble, and like traditionally, well, not traditionally in any sort of proud sense of the word tradition, but like I've been on many shows where the Rumble is like the unplanned, like no one's really taking it very seriously, and they're always quite underwhelming kind of match, you know. But this one was like pretty damn well put together, you know, like very exciting. But all the same, like I don't know, just something about it, like maybe just how many people were in the match or whatever. Like to start with, like it didn't really sink in that we were like wrestling at Wembley or something. Like there was a big queue of everybody ready to go out because, you know, we're all going out to like the same music for the most part.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain, you know, and TK being TK just grabbed me and goes like, "Come on, Mambo, let's go to the front." So we just walk out, and it was, I don't know. I remember I did a ring crew job for TNA there quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And I looked around then and was like, do you know what? Like, I wouldn't be intimidated by wrestling in this venue. So I went out and was in the venue, and I was like, this is just cool, man. Like, and so many of the like fans are at so many shows that we're like quite familiar with a lot of them, you know. So like you could actually make out, even in a crowd that size, you could like make out like some friendly faces and stuff, and that was like pretty awesome just to be like, hey, like, you know, good to see you, dudes. Yeah. And then TK just like got right up there on the turnbuckle and was like striking his pose, and I was like, that's pretty sweet. Like I'm gonna do that too. But then he has like, I guess, way better balance than me on the turnbuckle because I just kept like kind of wobbling, but he was just there looking really cool. But yeah, anyway, all that to say, it was like awesome and great, but like it didn't really settle in until like I super kicked past her over the top rope.
Yeah.
And then I see it's like the final four, and I'm like, oh wow. And then the crowd kind of start coming up. I was like, oh, this is cool, man. Like, wow, good. Yeah. Just get a load of this. And then like obviously TK and Spike, like I really like Ridgeway as well, but like TK and Spike live just down the road from me, and we hang out like all the time, and we're just like all in Wembley Arena together, you know. That was wild. Okay. And then there's a bit where like me and TK are there on the apron doing like a bit of a yay boo, and like we're in front of like 5,000 people, you know, and I just heard him go like, "This is good, let's just keep going." I was like, this is sick. Just like improvising with 5,000 people in the audience, you know, like just having a good time with your best friends. Like, yeah, it was, yeah, just like such a nice day, you know. Really great.
So the World Cup
as well.
Sorry.
Yeah, please. No, I was just going to say it's funny because there was like really nice catering backstage at Wembley, and you can definitely tell the people that have like worked for WWE and the people that haven't, because like all the like, you know, guys that's just part of their like day job or whatever is like just going about the day having this nice food, whereas I walked in, I was like, oh my god, I'd already bought like a meal deal from Sainsbury's. It's like, well, that was a waste of £3. It was great. It's funny as well being in the same locker room because when they were doing the TNA ring job thing, there's a bathroom backstage in the hallway, and I went in there, and I just came back out, and some camera guy down the hall was like, "Get the fuck back in there!" I was like, "What?" And it turned out they were like filming. You know when they film people like just before they come through the curtain?
Sometimes like the Goldberg effect.
Yeah, kind of like the Goldberg thing, but they were doing it for Matt Hardy. I just ruined the shot by like, I don't know if it was like a test run or something, because I never heard any tell of it being on TV or something, and no one was mad, but like, it was just funny being back there and thinking like, the same hallway where I accidentally photobombed Matt Hardy.
That is amazing. So let's talk about the World Cup, man. Let's expand more on this, because this is a great tournament held by Progress. For one, and it held more than one country, unlike the WWE disaster we've seen recently. You were obviously representing England. You had the fans backing all the way through, even beating Bad Bones from Germany in the semi-final. How awesome was it being featured and being the guy to represent Progress for England out of all the English talent that they have at Progress?
Yeah, no, honestly, that was like one of my biggest, like, proudest things I think I've done. Because I know, like, obviously wrestling is like wrestling, but like to be able to sort of represent, I genuinely think British wrestling is like either the best or like in contention for the best wrestling scene in the world, you know. Yeah. Like, I think I said it in a promo at the time, just like the last couple of years have been like I've been so happy all the time, just because like the wrestling community, no matter where you go in the country, is just like so like friendly and welcoming and supporting and awesome. So like it was really cool to get to represent that, even on like a, you know, however level of staged you want to believe wrestling is still cool to get to represent that. So that was really sweet. I don't know enough about football, but I get that there was some sort of heat between Germany and England about penalties. So that was fun. The Bad Bones match was such a blast though. Like, I never wrestled Bad Bones before or anything like that, but he was just such a funny guy and like nice guy, but then in the ring, just like such a bastard. Yeah,
because you got seriously beaten up after the match of the semi-final match. After the match, chairs and everything, and then before the final.
And before the final, it was a long night at the office. It was a fun one though, so I mean, no complaints.
Yeah. But, so what's it like working for Progress? Because obviously it is punk rock wrestling. It's wrestling for adults. The crowds are wild. You must have such an amazing time working for a company like that. And Jim Smallman and Glenn Joseph, what are they like for work for?
Oh yeah, man, it's a blast. I think I suppose I've had I don't know what you'd call it. Like, because it was where I trained, like I kind of consider myself having started like when I started training there, because that was when I like really took it seriously. Even though the other schools were like really cool, like that was where I was like really like, okay, I'm gonna be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And so like I've always had like quite a like soft friendly obviously a soft spot, but like I didn't realize that it would become what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know, they're just like, it's a really sweet company to be a part of, and like just really, like I was saying about the British wrestling community as a whole, really just like super fun, and like even though they've reached these wicked cool heights, like everyone's still just really grounded and humble, and like it feels the same now as it did when it was in the garage, you know.
Yeah. Well, you've been wrestling really for them for so long, but like they've always been amazing. It's just like you said, this popularity. Because I remember watching Chapter 13, Prince Devitt versus Zack Sabre Jr. like the other day, and
dude, what
that was an amazing match. And that was so long ago now, so it has always been
I can't
great.
believe how quickly time goes, as it turns out, man. Like because those guys are like, well, Devitt's on Raw now all the time, right? Yeah, and like Zack is, you know, lighting up New Japan all the time, and like, I don't know, time went way quicker than I expected that it would. But that's so cool that they've like that they're doing all that. Yeah, I don't really know what my point is there. Sorry, what was the question?
So what's it like? Is it something that attracts you to continue to wrestling for Progress? Because it's always been something that's been great wrestling, and now the popularity is just getting better and better.
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, so I went to the wrestling school before I'd seen any Progress stuff, because like I said, I didn't really know much about the internet and that.
Yeah.
And I think Glenn had been there talking about like how their fans were so raucous and stuff. But I mean, every wrestling promoter talks about how their fans are the best fans, like even if they've got like 12 people in a room, you know. And no disrespect to that, because that's wrestling too, and I love that as well.
And that's their job to do that.
Yeah, but like I kind of thought it was just like you know, promoters talking about their company being the best company. But then like I went to Chapter 9, and that was the one where Jimmy turned and stuff. Yeah. I was just like, oh, I was supposed to get to Chapter 8, but I got the times wrong. But I went to Chapter 9, and like, oh, like it just blew my mind that like this was what wrestling in England on an indie can be. And like, obviously, if I'd have known more, then like no, even if I had known more, like it just really changed my whole perspective on like how like, I don't know, just like how much you can feel it with like your gut, you know, like, you know, when you like feel the emotion in like your solar plexus and just be like, oh, and just like, I didn't really know anyone in the crowd, but I was just like grabbing strangers and shouting like, ah, and the caliber of wrestling was so insane. And then like, you know, when you're like, oh, like that was a great show, and like Chapter 10 will be a great show, but obviously it won't be as good, but like it will still be a great show.
Yeah.
But like you kind of have like a little bit of a nervous, like, oh, I hope they could top it, but they won't. But like then they topped it with Chapter 10 and they topped it with Chapter 11, you know, and it was just like for such a long time it was just like, oh my god, but like we just keep on building somehow on like continually breaking what I thought you could see from wrestling. So like anytime that I get to wrestle for Progress, obviously like that was like my first experience of Progress, and like it's always been that kind of feeling to me that like they just somehow keep getting better and better and better. And that like atmosphere and like how crazy fun the fans are and everything, you know, like just the whole thing, like the level of talent on the card means that you really have to make a case for yourself to be on there, I guess. So, like it brings out the best in everybody, I think, and the atmosphere. And
well, that leads me into my next question. Actually, this year, as well as following your World Cup win, you faced Travis Banks in a Progress World Title match. Now, unfortunately, you didn't get the win over him through his amazing heel run that he's had as champion this year, but what's the difference to you going into a world title match against a standard against like a normal standard of a singles match? Do you approach it in any way different, maybe to try and impress the fans a little bit more and get the attention of Jim and Glenn even more for future opportunities?
I mean, obviously it was a huge opportunity because like the Progress Wrestling belt is like the world title is like one of the most sought after belts, I suppose, in wrestling. But generally my game plan is the same going in no matter what. Like I think I tried to be a bit more focused that day. Like it's probably happened over the last year really, but like where I used to like really
hello, I can't hear you, connection's lost.
Hello.
Yep.
You there?
Sorry, carry on. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool. Yeah, well, I was saying, where I used to kind of be a little uncomfortable if like the crowd were silent or something. I'd be like, oh, like I hope everyone's still having a good time. It's my job to entertain them, you know. Like now I think of it more as like, you know, I'm here to win a match, and if the Progress Wrestling belt is on the line, then that's got to be my priority more than have the fans having a good time, you know, which obviously that is a huge priority as well.
Yeah.
But like when you're in a match like that, you gotta really just focus on winning.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess that would be like the main difference. But then I've gotten so much more comfortable with wrestling over the last year, just because I've been so lucky to wrestle so much this year. That these days I really like. My main perspective on wrestling is that, you know, life is tough and the fans deserve a nice time whilst they're at the wrestling. But when I'm in the ring, like I feel a lot more comfortable now to focus on winning than to constantly make sure that the fans are cheering any particular thing, because the fans are crazy and they'll you know, they're very creative with their chants and whatnot. And just learning, I suppose, that there's nothing wrong with letting them be quiet and just digest the wrestling, you know, because your job is to be there and win.
Definitely. What about your heel turn then? Let's finally cut to the chase of what's happened recently in Progress. After being one of the most loved wrestlers as a babyface at Progress, you seem to make the save for Jimmy Havoc before the really shocking, and by the looks of it, reluctant at first by you, heel turn on Jimmy Havoc. How much fun was that shot to shock the Progress crowd?
Yeah, so you can say heel turn, or you can say just doing what's right for you, really, because I didn't. Actually, I was a bit surprised how much I enjoyed it, to be honest. Like, but I didn't get any joy from the idea of doing that to Jimmy, and I wouldn't have chosen to. But like you say, I was one of the most loved baby faces in the company, but I hadn't been on since my match with Trav, you know, like as it's all well and good being loved, but it's pretty important to be booked as well, you know.
Yeah.
And that was my my choice that I weighed up. That the fans' support has always been like awesome, and I've really appreciated it, and it feels really nice, you know, to have people like really love and support you when you're wrestling. But ultimately, if I want to make it like to the upper echelons of progress and wrestling across the whole country, then I have to be on the card. and if they're not going to put me on the card,
you'll force them to.
Yeah, you know, like I have to do what I have to do to be seen, and I guess the time was right. Like Drew had put the call out. Me and Bill we haven't been tagging for quite a long time, but we all talked about it, and I just feel like it was the right thing to do for me. Yeah. So
you even got a "fuck you" Mambo chant going. How much that was been weird.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and like I was quite surprised because I didn't expect to get any joy out of that, but I did actually did get a little bit of a buzz from it.
I bet
it's been interesting though, because quite a lot of people came up to me at the match table at Manchester, and it's been interesting to, like, you know, a lot of fans actually agree with us that, you know, some people's time is up, and it's our time, you know, and if someone's not going to give you, well, I think it's a mistake that I've made. Like I think I said on a promo in progress, but I've been really grateful to everyone for building up the scene and for like building the house, you know, but it only hit me in recent months. Like, I'm very grateful for a house that I'm not seemingly that welcome in. Yeah. So, you know, if they're going to hog it, then you got to kick them out.
Definitely. And it seems like this new faction is formed then. You, Drew Parker, William Eva, and Spike.
Yeah.
One of my mates, who's a massive fan of yours, wants to know. He's called Jack Duffield, so shout out to Jack. He's a massive fan of you and Progress in general. He wants to know, Chuck, what is it now like working here and being part of the Do Not Resuscitate faction?
Hey, what did you say his name was? Jack?
Jack, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, man. What is it like? It's kind of liberating in a way. Like, you know, I was saying about, like, it's really nice, the fans cheering you and supporting you and stuff. But however, the last year I haven't I've like learned to not worry about that so much and to just focus on winning. Yeah. It's kind of like the next level of that, I suppose. Just not having to worry about, you know, trying to wrestle in the way that is moral or the way that is right, or the way that the fans are going to like, and to just purely think about how am I going to beat the person who is in the ring, or how am I going to make Progress and the Progress fans pay attention to to us, but to me, and to have to focus on me and give me the push that I think I've deserved for at least a year, if not more. So yeah, it's quite liberating, and like I say, I was surprised that I actually quite enjoyed the energy from the fans, just how shocked they were by what we were doing. But I suppose maybe that was just because they're finally giving me attention, which the fans have always been great. I have no problem with the fans, but like they can't give you attention if you're not on the show, can they? So, you know, and if people are going to hog spots on the show, then we're going to have to
do something about it and take it from them. Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Definitely. So let's go into like the different companies now that you've worked for. This year alone, you've actually worked for 16 different companies, and in 2017 it was 18. Is this like is this the idea for you to wrestle anywhere and everywhere at this point in your career, get the exposure that you've worked hard for and that you deserve?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You said it was 16 companies this year?
16 companies this year, yeah, according to Cage Match.
It's pretty good going. Take that.
Quite proud of yourself, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't especially have a game plan, if I'm honest with you. I just really love wrestling, and I've been real surprised, like very happily surprised how busy wrestling's gotten this year, and it's been awesome. So like, thank you to everyone that's made that possible. You know, all the fans. I know I was just talking about, you know, not worrying about the fans, but the fans do make it possible. So thank you for that. For supporting wrestling in general, and I honestly, I really, really love wrestling. Like whatever venue or crowd it might be, you know. So anytime I can wrestle, I'm glad to. I guess that's the plan right now. And like you say, yeah, more exposure is always better. I'd love to travel. I'm heading out to Denmark, I think, next year for body slammers. I'd love to get over to like Spain for Triple W. Love to be involved with WXW. It'd be great to go to like Japan or Wrestle in America or Mexico. Just wrestle as many places as possible, really. And one of my big priorities. It's a shame that Riptide had to like run a few less shows this coming year. Yeah. But I'd really like to like get some eyes on the Riptide title and make that like a prestigious belt in British wrestling.
Oh, definitely. So Progress is your usual home that you have the most matches in a year for, but this year has seen a change in that. And in fact, Attack, the company owned, I believe it's actually Pete Dunne who is the owner of the company. I think, is that right?
I believe so. I know he founded it with Jim Lee and
that's
maybe
right,
Mark.
It's actually the company that you've worked for most this year. An incredible 21 matches, including recently as well a few tag team title matches with Drew Parker for Nothing to Prove.
Man. Yeah.
It must be great knowing that you have such a variety of matches where you're going from singles matches to tag team matches to titles matches for both of them and to change it up a lot. It must be quite fun for you.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been a real blast. There was one weekend this year. I can't remember which weekend it was. But I had, like, a scramble match at Fight Club, then another scramble match at Fight Club, then a beach ball warfare match at SWA, and then the next day I had like a singles match, I think, or it might have been a tag match, but like just getting to do so many like different wrestling matches, you know, and like such a it's just really, really creatively fulfilling because you get to be a good guy, you get to be a bad guy, you get to like play with 2 bodies, or you get to play with 4 bodies, and like like not choreographed. I don't mean that I'm playing with the bodies, but you know what I mean, like organizing coming up with creative stuff for like what to do with 2 bodies or 4 bodies or 8 bodies, and it's just like really sweet to get to do that many different types of match.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like huge thanks to Attack for keeping me so busy as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. 21 matches, that's some going this year.
Yeah, well, you know, onwards and upwards. I'd like to do, how many matches are there in how many weeks? 52.
52, yeah.
There's 52 weeks in a year. 5 matches a week. Like 250 next year would be the deal.
You're talking El Ligero terms there, aren't you?
Yeah. I have to try and give him a run for his money one day. It might take a few more years to get that busy, I don't know. But anyway, if anybody is listening who would like a wrestler, the more I can wrestle, the better. So.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you feel 2018 has been for you? Because in my eyes, it's sort of a breakout year for you with the Riptide Championship, Progress World Cup, that sort of thing, and even defending it against Eddie Dennis, of course, your good friend, as recent as November. How do you feel it's been for you?
Yeah, no, it's been a blast, man. It's been super fun. I going into this year was hoping, my big aim, I think I said it on Flash Morgan's podcast, and it turns out he knew I was in the Super Strong style as well. I didn't know, but he knew. So bless him for keeping it secret. But I thought this year my aim was to make a big case for myself to be in Super Strong Style 16 next year, and then I thought that would be a big platform to like raise my profile and become a bigger, a busier wrestler off the back of that. Yeah. But then, surprisingly to me, this has been like a big breakout year. So I guess the aim is to use this breakout year as a sort of a launch pad for an even breaky out year next year. Yeah. I guess. But yeah, oh no, man, it's just been such a pleasure and a joy this year. I can't thank everyone enough. It's been great. And I mean, I know I was kind of talking in character or whatever earlier, but like Progress were a huge part of that too. So thank you, Progress.
This is sort of like a lead into my next question as well. With the recent rumours that NXT guys will no longer be able to be available as often for the indie companies, a lot of people have been complaining and worried about this, that we're not going to see them as much on the indies. In my eyes, it's a great thing because we see them every week already on the the WWE Network and so on and so forth. And now, like the mid-card guys maybe get their chance at the top and, absolutely pun intended, escape the mid-card like you and TK are doing. What's your opinions on this? Is this a good thing? This is obviously a good thing for you.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a great thing for everybody. I mean, honestly, I do not know that much about wrestling, hearsay and stuff, but I think, like, if one wrestler gets signed or something, you know, they get like a "you deserve it" chant, and like, you know, everyone's so happy for them, and then this whole great roster of wrestlers have worked their balls off. I know I was saying in character earlier, they've like worked so hard to make this scene like incredible. Yeah. But a big part of them working so hard, obviously, was the dream of working at WWE. Yeah. and now they have that, and like, that's sick. They absolutely deserve it, and like, we all should be thankful for like the work that they put in to make the scene so big on the way there. And we had like 2 years of having a touring WWE UK champion that could also do indies. Like, that's mad.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, that is.
Like, it's been so sick. So like, I do think it's a bit unfair if people give them any grief.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because they've just been like breaking their tailbone for their own careers and for the scene. And now they get to wrestle at the WWE, I guess, more full-time or whatever. Yeah. It's fucking sweet.
Yeah, I know. I was at a show on Saturday, just gone, and I was speaking to Flash and Travis, and sort of asked them about the WWE and how they're finding it. And, you know, they're loving it as well. And, you know, it's so good for, like, security-wise for them, for, like, the... to constantly have, like, obviously money coming in. But they sort of said the same thing. Like, it's great because now the people who we know have the talent, who maybe aren't getting the opportunities on the indies that they deserve, will now get that opportunity. The people like
that
you
was the next
and
bit.
TK.
I was going to say that, from a purely self-interest point of view, it's also very great for me.
Definitely.
Like I say, I'd love to wrestle more places. You know, there's a lot of places there. Like Defiant is another big one that I'd really love to get to. You know, hopefully get some more time at Rev Pro, because I've been having a really good time wrestling with them this year. Yeah. So I think you know, they're moving up to the WWE or moving, you know, along to the WWE, however you want to view it. Because I mean, there's lots of other wrestling companies that are also, you know, there's a different flavor for everybody. So
yeah, definitely.
Not to try and say that, you know, wrestling for other companies isn't as good as wrestling for WWE, because I think it is. Yeah. But you know, if people are wrestling for WWE, and then that frees up spots for us and for everybody else, and then just hopefully it's kind of like a promotion for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's sweet. Yeah.
Because personally, I am from Plymouth, and like I said, we have a new company down here called Reach Wrestling, run by Grayson Reeves and Jason King. You've just said how you'd like to work for a lot more companies, different places. The last time I spoke to Grayson, we mentioned how many great wrestlers he gets down here, but I want to see Chuck Mambo down here for Reach Wrestling. Could that be something you'd be interested in 2019?
I want to see Chuck Mambo down there for Reach Wrestling. Yes, that would be something I'm definitely interested in.
Well, I'll put the call out, I'll speak to Grayson, and we'll see if we can make that happen in 2019. Because
sounds good to me, man. Thank you.
That. So let's go now a little bit into your opinions and your past experiences. Chuck, what is your favourite match that you've been involved in?
My favourite? Ooh, there is a lot of goodies. I tell you what, someone asked me my highlights of 2018 yesterday, and I answered, and I forgot to say this, and I really wish that I had. The death match that I had with Ricky Shane Page at Attack was just such a buzz, man. Like, really crazy. Really, really, really good fun. So that was really nice. What match did I have with Eddie? There was a match I had with Eddie at Riptide. All of my matches with Eddie are great, because like he was like my first favourite sort of British indie wrestler. Yeah. So anytime I get to wrestle him, it's a bit like woo. Yeah. But that was a total blast when we wrestled for the Riptide title. But also when we wrestled for like his spot in the tournament, it got ruined. It got ruined like 6 minutes in or something by Gideon Gray and Curtis Chapman. But it was still a really fun time, like really, really fun time. And me and Sexsmith had a tag match with the Hunter Brothers at Attack that was just like, well, maybe we had a couple. Like, just every time that you get to wrestle the Hunter Brothers, basically, is an absolute hoot. Because they're just such like, I don't even really know how to explain it, but there's just such an aura of like, you guys are like real, like, just proper wrestler legends of the like British wrestling scene, yeah. Just so that's, I don't know, just just in awe of the Hunters, I guess. Oh, and we got to wrestle in a TLC match at Attack recently, and that was like also just an absolute blast, man. That was obviously the match with Zach was absolutely sick as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just rambling now about all the fun matches I've had.
Yeah.
I got to wrestle Devlin as well at the Riptide tournament, and that was sweet. Oh, and then Helico, he was a blast.
Yeah.
The match with Spike as well. The match with Spike where I won the title. That was like a real standout from the year. Because that was just a blast.
Definitely. And obviously you won the title from it, so it's going to be...
And I won the title, so that's always going to be nice. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure that I'm missing out tons of them, and I always feel ungrateful when I'll think about it after this podcast, and I'll be like, God, I should have said this. They're going to think that I'm ungrateful. Whatever.
What about your favourite opponent? Do you have a favourite opponent that you wrestle?
A favourite opponent? Jack Cave. I love wrestling Jack Cave. There's a lot of other wrestlers also that are my favourite opponents. But every time that I've got to wrestle Jack Cave, it's been an absolute hoot. Also, like I said before, like Eddie, because we train together a lot as well. So like, or TK, or Spike, because we train together quite a lot. So like, there's a lot of the time where, we can just kind of feel how it's going, and
because you're close friends as well, it definitely helps.
Yeah, there's like a chemistry there that makes it like really, really fun to wrestle.
Yeah,
and like I said, the Hunter brothers, and I'm sure that I'm going to be missing someone here, but they're the ones that come off the top of my head.
Yeah. What about your future then? Who is someone that you really want to wrestle who you haven't wrestled yet?
Oh, okay. So last year I made a list of people that I wanted to wrestle. It was Eddie Dennis, Rampage Brown, and Zach Gibson. Oh, fucking Zach Gibson is another one that I really want to wrestle. That is a favorite opponent type thing, Anyway, so I got to wrestle Eddie and I got to wrestle Zach, and then I made a new list that was Zack Sabre, Mike Hitchman, and Mike Bird. And I got to wrestle Mike Bird, and I got to wrestle Zack Sabre, but I was supposed to wrestle Wild Boar Mike Hitchman, but I can't remember why. Something changed about the card that I didn't get to wrestle him, unfortunately. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to wrestling Hitch at some point.
Yeah, he is great, because I remember speaking to someone, and they told me that, who knows Pete Dunne, and they said that Pete Dunne's opinion is Wild Boar is so underrated and one of the best around.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, yeah. Have you ever watched him live?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Well, then you know.
Yeah, he's so good. I've seen him in Plymouth for NXT UK not so long ago, actually.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and that's so sick that he's on that platform, because he's just perfect for it. Like, such a fucking crazy look and an intense wrestler, and just kind of like the Hunters. You just watch them wrestle and you're just like, this is everything I love about wrestling. This is just great. This is the stuff. So that's, I'm really hoping one day I get to wrestle him. And, of course, Rampage Brown, one of my all-time favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
Who I didn't manage to tick off that first year. So I'd love to wrestle him at some point. That'd be awesome.
That'll be a really good match, because it's completely two different styles with you two, because he is a massive brute and you're more of the slender type. I think that would be a really good match.
Yeah, I don't really know what the match would look like, to be honest. But it would be a hoot. And actually, in that vein, Chris Brooks told me that Walter would wrestle me because I'm jacked and I take a good beating, and he respects that.
That is awesome to hear that, because he is a big name, Walter.
He is a big old dude, yeah. So that would be a blast as well, And anytime I get to wrestle TK is always fun too.
Yeah.
Was that the question? Who would I like to wrestle?
Yeah, who would you want to wrestle? Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
What about 2019, Chuck? What is your goals for 2019? To escape the mid-card, make Chuck Mambo more of a household name, and wrestling even more so?
Yeah. I guess our big goal is to escape the mid-card as per. But also, to just to wrestle as many places as I can, man. I mean, like, there's still a good few companies that maybe Recent Revelations would have opened doors to, because they might need some new guys or whatever, and that'd be really sweet. And just to wrestle around, have fun. That's the goal, really.
What about long-term goals then? Is NXT UK something that you would like to be a part of, or maybe go overseas and go for like Japan and New Japan and that sort of style, and grow the indie scene more?
Oh, well, NXT UK looks great to me, but then so does Japan, and I'd really like to see some of the world, you know. So I think basically any way that I can make my living still out of being a professional wrestler.
A bit of both.
Because I really think that like pro wrestling is such a cool thing because it makes people happy, you know.
Oh yeah.
So if I can make like my living out of making people happy, wherever I can do that, I'll be pretty damn happy to do it. I think NXT is like a great goal for anyone in the country to have because I mean the WWE is like right on our doorstep.
Yeah,
now.
it's so well
and they
run
seem
as
to
well,
really
I think,
respect.
NXT.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they really like have a good respect for British wrestling as well.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. But obviously, like anytime if I got a chance to like get to Japan or something, then that would be awesome too. I'd really like to go check out Mexico as well because that seems like a hoot. And I'd love to wrestle for OTT. I would really love to wrestle for OTT as well.
Yeah.
So
maybe you get to fight Volta and OTT for the title. That'd be something to look forward to.
Yeah, that'd be badass, eh? Oh man! Oh my god! Did you see that whole hype package? For, obviously, the match as well was. Now I make it sound like the hype package is more important than the match. The match was definitely
it was amazing,
the coolest thing. But the whole hype package into the match, like between
so
Devlin
and doing hype
and then
packages.
and then the rematch of the tag match and all the drama with David Starr. Oh my god, just so crazy.
OTT is another company that people are sleeping on and not enough people are watching. I really do think.
Is that okay? Well, I mean, I only obviously have like kind of the experience from the wrestlers who like already know that it's really great. Like I never know what's being slept on or what's not being slept on or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I was surprised to hear about Attack. I just assumed that everyone knew that Attack was the balls, and same with OTT. You know, like the product speaks for itself. But...
Yeah, definitely. Well, Chuck, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you very much for coming on. Where can people come watch you wrestle in the new year? Do you have any dates booked yet?
Oh, yeah, I actually have a good lot of dates booked there in the calendar. There's going to be a good few Riptide shows. You should come down because I'm going to make it my mission to put on the best matches I possibly can for that title, assuming I still have it after February. What else is going on? There's going to be a hefty lot of Attack dates going down. So you should come along to any of those and all of those. I am going to try and I'm putting the legwork in to make sure that Progress have to book me on all of their shows.
Yep.
And there's a new company in Sheffield, which is called Breed. They're going to have their first tournament on February 10th. All of Escape in the Midcard are going to be there. So that'll be a cool show. Trying to think what else is going on. If you're in Denmark, I'll be there in like January and March, I think, for Body Slammers, and I'm really looking forward to that because Bill was over there. Bill Eva was over there. He said he had like an absolute hoot, so that should be sweet. That is off the top of my head what I can remember. Oh, and I'm really hoping that I'll be as involved with Fight Club as I have been in the last couple months because Fight Club has just been like a bloody joy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's some of the big ones coming up next year. There should be a lot of places to find me. I'm not really into the whole like posting your calendar or whatever, like the. But maybe I should do that because then people will know where to come and see me.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to try and get you at Reach Wrestling. That is going to be my goal in 2019.
And Reach
to get
Wrestling. Oh yeah, nice. It starts early this year actually. I don't know about Reach, but I think like January 4th there's an Attack show. So there won't be any January lull.
No. But where can people find you on the social medias and pick up some Chuck Mambo Escape in the Mid-Card match?
Ho ho! You can find me on Twitter or Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, but like I never go on there anymore. Like, have you found that Facebook is just like not a good place to be anymore?
I rarely use Facebook anymore.
Yeah, it's just kind of lame, huh? Like, and then like because you've had it since you're like 15 or something, you've added so many people that like you don't even know who they are. So like the majority of stuff you have to read is just like, oh well, I think dogs are better than cats or some shit like from someone that you don't even know. So I never really update the Facebook one anyway. But just at Chuck Mambo is the handle for those on Instagram and Twitter, or go to youtube.com/TKMETM for any Escape in the Midcard episodes, and you can buy my merch and the final few Escaping the Mid-Card t-shirts at mambomerch.bigcartel.com. As a matter of fact, whilst we've been having this chat, I've been designing this new t-shirt, right? It's a long sleeve t-shirt.
Yeah.
And it says, it's going to say it, but it's going to be a pink and yellow zebra print on a black t-shirt. How about that, huh? Awesome. No more Mr. Nice Mambo.
You'll have to tweet that one out.
Yeah, man. And then along the sleeves, because when I was going to wrestle Timothy Thatcher the other day, this dude messaged me on Instagram. Or maybe do that. I'm sorry. I can never tell with Instagram handles. But they messaged me like, yeah, smash his face, win the match, and party hard.
You'll have to use that one.
Yeah, maybe I have to check with Eddie, because his whole thing is party hard, actually. But,
yeah. But anyway, thank you very much, Chuck Mambo, for joining me today.
What's up, IMLP, and you are listening to Wrestling Luke Omega podcast, maybe. I think I fucked it up, but anyways, you should subscribe.
How funny and awesome is Chuck Mambo, by the way. Thank you very much for Chuck for coming on to begin with, but also for giving me a fantastic interview and for the kind words after. He told me after, and he even tweeted it out. The guy, just like TK, will have a huge 2019, so yet again, don't say I didn't warn you when these guys become super popular next year. By the way, did you hear some familiar voices during the cuts between the episode? Omega Luke's new friends giving a shout out to the brand, no biggie. They actually insisted on doing that themselves, which when I met them I didn't really expect. I didn't even ask them to do that for me, and if you believe that bullshit, then you'll believe anything. Man, Saturday was such an awesome day, guys. I cannot wait to learn how to edit and get this video out. But like I said, I'm learning and I want it to be perfect. So you maybe waiting a little longer is a good thing. For now, anyway. Upcoming episodes then, guys. Let's quickly run through a few. We have the Fantasy Booking League making a return on Monday with an awesome match. JSP, Josh and Stu podcast against the newcomers, Royally Rumbled. And this match means a lot more than just 2 points after the rivalry these two had in the JSPL. So don't miss that. I hope you enjoyed the Rock Cry Guy episode 2, by the way. How awesome was that? Had some great feedback from people. People I've never even spoken to before tweeting me, telling me how they cried all the way through the episode because of how emotional and amazing it was. So if you haven't already checked it out, the Rock episode with Nev is stellar. And of course, the Brendan Wyatt episode, which came out on Sunday night. Great interview once again. Awesome guy, Brendan. Spoke to him quite a lot recently. He's the type of person I'd love to see get an opportunity somewhere like Progress this year, because he is shit hot in the ring, and I really do think he'll be massive. But guys, there is plenty more to come. More interviews, more fantasy bookings, more awesome discussions with the wrestling community, and I am just getting started. Me and Wilfred were speaking the other day about growth and how far we've come from both starting in around about July time. And I'm so proud of the journey so far, but I want more. I want to take you all on this journey with me to go as high as I can go, and your support means the world. So keep listening, make sure you are subscribed, you give a 5-star review where you can, and like John, if you can afford to, become a Patreon member or get yourself a t-shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com and continue to help the little guys win. Because we work just as hard, if not harder, because we don't have the original platform. We start off with nothing. So thank you once again, everyone. Massive thank you for John, and I shall catch you all on Monday for that epic encounter in the Fantasy Booking League. Goodbye and good night back.
The Omega Luke Wrestling Podcast, Fantasy Booking League 2018.
How about you arrange it so that Simon Muller, or whatever his name is, can be my first victim?
Going to have to keep him in line.
The experience that you've all been waiting for.
Where are these challenges, Mr. Omega?
Omega looks shredded, Kevin.
It's looking doom and gloom for WWE.
I want Edge. Like, give me Edge.
Seen Omega in fantastic shape before, but never anything like this.
I'm a big fan of Mason Adams. That is his real name.
Math. Or MAFF.
4 horsewomen against 4 horsewomen. That's quite obvious. But Shayna Baszler turn on Ronda Rousey.
I think if Math doesn't win, you'll actually cry.
Why is he ducking me?
And become the first ever Omega Luke Fantasy Booking League champions.
and I'm just ready for the others after I take the 2 points off this champ.
For the prize of the Undefeated Streak of 1 t-shirt.
And be the OLW World Champion. Oh yeah, it's time to get on board or get left behind.